What's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I'm back with another video. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you're old or new to my channel, hit the notification bell so you'll know when my next video or live stream goes down. Now, I'm going to do a timeline. We're going to talk about LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James as the GM. We're going to talk about the moves that they made when you're talking about getting players around LeBron James this year. We're also going to be talking about very questionable moves. We're also going to be talking about game 1 and game 4. Okay, so I kind of want to do a timeline to let you guys know, because I know a lot of people catch these live streams midway or don't even catch these live streams at all. And this is going to be a pretty long, epic live stream. Now, before we begin, can we stop the debate on who's the greatest player of all time between LeBron James and Michael Jordan? Can we just say that both of these players are great in their era? I felt like Michael Jordan had a bigger impact in his domination of the era than LeBron James. But that being said, they're at the end of the day, they're still great players. All right. Now, let's get into all the blind witnesses out there, the LeBron James followers. They're going to make excuses. They're going to damage control for LeBron James. And right off the bat, they're going to say, well, LeBron James didn't have no help. LeBron James, put the team on his back. He played the most minutes out of everyone, on his team. He was also not only the leading scorer, but he also was played his part in rebounds, had the most assists, and things of that nature. Now, let's get into the quote-unquote LeBron James doesn't have any help. First of all, I'm tired of hearing that excuse, because at the end of the day, LeBron James, the help that LeBron James quote-unquote says he doesn't have, well, he was the one who orchestrated this help, okay? People seem to forget that LeBron James wanted the Cleveland Cavaliers organization to sign a big-time contract to Christian Thompson. When they was bidding with themselves, nobody was going to pay Christian Thompson that type of money, okay? Other than the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the only reason why LeBron James wanted Christian Thompson that big-time money to prove a point that his agency can get that type of money if you sign up to their agency, okay? But anyone with half a brain, or any player with half a brain, would know the only reason why Christian Thompson got that money was the control and the influence LeBron James had on the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, all right? Let's start with J.R. Smith. Yet again, another player that when the Cleveland Cavaliers had an opportunity to get rid of him, LeBron James wanted the Cleveland Cavaliers organization to sign an extension for J.R. Smith. And once again, they was placed in the same position like they were with Christian Thompson. They were bidding with themselves. J.R. Smith happens to, LeBron James agency happens to, are the agencies behind J.R. Smith. Nobody was going to pay J.R. Smith that type of money. And you knew going in what type of player J.R. Smith was. J.R. Smith, when he was multi-talented. He was a jack of all trades when he was with the Denver Nuggets. But the only question J.R. Smith had was his player IQ, all right? And that kept J.R. Smith to elevate to becoming one of the best, all right? J.R. Smith had other influences outside the court, and he never did dedicate himself to becoming a better player. He had all the tools to become one. It's just he didn't have the desire to push it to the next level. But once again, that was one of LeBron James' boys, and he wanted to, quote unquote, take care of him. So now you got two players on the roster sucking up roster space as well as salary cap flexibility. Just imagine if you didn't sign these players, all right? Just imagine how much salary cap space you would have had to sign other players that could contribute, okay? Shall I keep going? Let's continue, all right? Because I know it's going to be a lot of LeBron James apologists out there that's going to illustrate the following. LeBron James didn't have enough help. LeBron James didn't have enough help, all right? Now, I will give LeBron James a pass on the Kyrie Irving situation. But what people seem to fail to realize was the reason why Kyrie Irving wanted to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first place, because LeBron James didn't commit past this year. If LeBron James would have signed a longer extension that's going to, if he would have signed a longer extension instead of those 2 years, and I'm sorry for the noise in the background, they're having a hot rod event in the background. But if LeBron James would have assigned a longer extension, as well as allow Kyrie Irving to have a say-so with the organization as well, Kyrie Irving would probably still be with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Kyrie Irving saw the writing on the wall. He knows LeBron James is going to leave at the end of this year, and Kyrie Irving did not want to be stuck with LeBron James' boys, okay? Because LeBron James is not going to take these players. Even if LeBron James goes to another team, he's not going to tell the GM to orchestrate a trade to get Christian Thompson, J.R. Smith, and Kevin Love. Yet again, another player LeBron James recruited. And after 1 year with him, had cold feet on him. In a perfect world, LeBron James wished that Kevin Love didn't sign that extension to come back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, all right? But look what they gave up for Kevin Love, all right? Which is going to go into my next argument about all these excuses LeBron James apologies, including LeBron James, is making what he's going to make, and he has been making. They gave up Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett, okay? Let's look at them two players. Now, Andrew Wiggins, to me, if you would allow Andrew Wiggins to grow for 1 year under LeBron James' belt, and if LeBron James could mold Anthony Wiggins into a better player, because I always keep hearing how LeBron James is a facilitator. LeBron James make players better, okay? He could have made Andrew Wiggins a better player, and probably gotten more potential out of Wiggins than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now the Minnesota Timberwolves are talking about trading Wiggins. Why? Because they got other multiple players on that roster, so they can afford to do it. But just imagine if they would have just kept Andrew Wiggins, still trade Bennett, because even at that time, Bennett had tradability for other teams where they could gotten multiple pieces for Bennett, if not just get them off your roster. Because here's another thing LeBron James made an excuse for in Game 3. He talked about how the Golden State Warriors, why they have their big three, because through careful drafting, and Steph Curry's first 2 years wasn't that promising. In other words, they could give Steph Curry a contract that's more favorable for the organization to have more flexibility to sign other players, okay? But here's the point LeBron James and all the blind witnesses seem to forget. They drafted Steph Curry. They drafted Draymond Green. They drafted Klay Thompson, okay? Just those players alone, all right? At the end of the day, you still need a core that you draft. Just like the Chicago Bulls. They drafted Michael Jordan. They drafted Scottie Pippen. Okay? They drafted Horace Grant. They drafted Armstrong. They drafted Steve Kerr. Okay? And then they added other pieces around their core base. The same could be said for the Boston Celtics in the Larry Bird era. The same could be said for the Los Angeles Lakers, the Magic Johnson era. You still have to draft, okay? And then with your salary cap flexibility, you add other pieces, okay? And that's what the Golden State Warriors did. They engineered, at the end of the day, they took a chance. And Draymond Green was drafted in the second round. You know how many teams passed on Draymond Green twice? Most notably, the Miami Heat. Most notably, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Griffin, he was the GM in that era, in that time when they had the opportunity to draft Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. He probably wasn't able to get Steph Curry, but he could have. He was more than able to either get Klay Thompson or either get Draymond Green in the second round. Okay, so you have to have a GM that has a plan for the future. And Griffin, this GM that LeBron James wanted the Cleveland Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert to sign back. Okay, this great GM, which by the way, he was trying to orchestrate a trade for Kyrie Irving and Paul George. A lot of people say the reason why they didn't go through because Dan Gilbert didn't want it to happen. All right, but wait a minute. Even if they would have done that, let's just go ahead and hypothetically look at that situation. Have anyone seen Paul George playoff performance with the Oklahoma City Thunder? A lot of people are going to come with the analogy of, oh well, look, he had play along against Russell Westbrook, a ball hogger. Okay, Paul George isn't that type of player to me that can put the team on his back and can get you points. All right. And that's what the Cleveland Cavaliers needed desperately in these finals, all right? The Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James and Dan Gilbert, they gave up too fast on Isaiah Thomas. I know Isaiah Thomas has a mouth. I know Isaiah Thomas is it's hard to tolerate his attitude, all right? But you mean to tell me Isaiah Thomas couldn't contribute more so than what you got for Isaiah Thomas? Is that the analogy a lot of people are going to start using and start proclaiming? All right. What about Dwayne Wade? Even if you think Isaiah Thomas wasn't all that great and you could have just traded him and the pieces you got in return was better than having Isaiah Thomas staying on the roster, what about Dwayne Wade? They traded away Dwayne Wade for nothing. All right. You mean to tell me Dwayne Wade sitting on the bench through the regular season and then somehow, some way, you integrate Dwayne Wade in the playoff run? You mean to tell me Dwayne Wade couldn't contribute in the Indiana series? You mean to tell me Dwayne Wade could have took the Toronto series off and then waited for the Boston series? You mean to tell me Dwayne Wade couldn't contribute in the Boston series? Maybe it wouldn't took 7 games to ultimately the Cleveland Cavaliers won that series, which by the way, the Boston Celtics had no Gordon Hayward, no Kyrie Irving, a bunch of young players, and that team took the Cleveland Cavaliers to a 7th game. All right, with the greatest player since sliced bread, LeBron James. All right, so you mean to tell me that with all that going on, Dwayne Wade could not contribute for the Cleveland Cavaliers? All right, now let's go into game 1 where there was a blunder with J.R. Smith. But this is one of your boys, LeBron James. You should know the ins and outs about him. You guys knew you had a timeout. All right. Ty Lue was trying to call the timeout, but the ref the referees could not see it. All right. They were so busy looking at J.R. Smith, and you were still in the play. You were still in the facility. You mean to tell me you couldn't do a quick tee and the refs wouldn't have called a timeout right then, right there? And the way how you exploded when y'all did take a timeout, and you was going off and you was acting like a child at that point. The way you handled yourself in that timeout, and you still had an opportunity in overtime to ultimately win the game. But LeBron James checked out. LeBron James was upset and mad at J.R. Smith. And with the recent reports coming out that after that game, LeBron James punched a blackboard in frustration of J.R. Smith. You know, even though Michael Jordan can be a hothead at times, right? Michael Jordan would have never put himself in a position where he'll injure himself, and now he's lessening the chances for his team to succeed. LeBron James, you know, got out of control. He still kept thinking about game 1, at game 2, and at game 3. He was padding his stats in game 2. He wasn't. He was trying his best to get them back at game 3, but then the Kevin Durant just blew up, and you know nobody couldn't do anything. Which, by the way, here's another thing: the Cleveland Cavaliers was the worst team on defense in the regular season. The worst. All right, and most of the reason why they were worse, and they changed. You know, in the first half of the season, they had, you know, they had all these old veteran players, okay, which understandable. Derrick Rose was never a great defender, okay. Dwayne Wade was old. He couldn't do what he was normally capable of doing when he was younger with the Miami Heat. It was understandable, but you had Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder was supposed to be this great defender, all right, and he struggled. Isaiah Thomas was missing because of the injuries, all right. So you didn't have anybody, all right. So that's why you made those trades in the first place. Remember the trades that what's up, man? How you doing? Remember all the trades that were going. Oh well, you know, they traded away all that old veteran talent, and now they got these younger, energetic, athletic players. Okay, there's no way in the world LeBron James. I mean, the trade at the trade deadline, they won. Okay. They got what they wanted. They wanted younger players, okay? And I told you guys then that they was better off keeping the players that they had, all right? I told you guys then, okay? And I told you guys it wouldn't have mattered anyway. They traded away some older veterans that were past their prime or injured, okay? And they replace these players with younger players that are athletic, but they don't have any experience in the playoffs. George Hill. This is a prime example. George Hill, he used to play for the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs gave up on George Hill in a heartbeat. George Hill has been bounced around from the Pacers and I think he was the last place was Utah, then with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you mean to tell me Larry Nance Jr., who's more nobly a dunker than anything else, they try to proclaim him as this big time shot blocker, and he's not a shot blocker, okay? Jordan Clarkson, he doesn't even have moments. And Rodney Hood, if they would have just started Rodney Hood, and Rodney Hood is the type of player that he just can't sit behind the line waiting for a pass. The only way you can get Rodney Hood going is allowing Rodney Hood to be Rodney Hood. Take the ball down the court and make plays. Okay, he's not that type of player where you can just sit him behind the three-point line and just wait for stuff to happen. Kyle Korver could have contributed a lot more than what he contributed in this series, but the reason why they couldn't keep him in the series much longer because he was a defensive liability, which is a laughable thing to talk about because everybody on the Cleveland Cavaliers are a defensive liability. That was the most funniest thing I've heard in the NBA playoffs. So wait a minute. Kyle Korver, you're not going to start him because he's a defensive liability. But the rest of the team are not studs on the defensive end anyway. Not to mention LeBron James was slacking off on the defensive end. LeBron James would just simply play zone, play back, and he wasn't going to fight through the screens, and would never communicate to his teammates, okay, I don't have him. Can you pick him up for me? I'll get your man, you get him. All right? LeBron James would just go through the motions, no communication, not telling his teammates is he going to fight through the screen? Is he going to pick up my man? And there were several occasions where his man would get away from him and make a clear shot to make a clear and have a clear line to the basket. You know, the one thing the Golden State Warriors were good at was the three-point game, but it wasn't the three-point game that ultimately killed the Cleveland Cavaliers. They was going to the basket at will, with no defensive presence whatsoever. Okay? So, LeBron James bears a lot of responsibility. If you had to divvy out the responsibility on why the Cleveland Cavaliers got swept, LeBron James deserved most of it. Because LeBron James was so upset from game one. He could not let it go. He could not let it go. And if Dwayne Wade was there, Dwayne Wade would have took LeBron James under his arm and said, hey man, let that go, man. We're still able to win this game in overtime. Just let it go. You know J.R. Smith is J.R. Smith. All right? Let it go. Let's move on to the next play. But LeBron James could not afford to let it go. All right? Because LeBron James knew in the back of his mind, this is a perfect out. So I can wipe my hands from this situation. And people can't blame me on why we got swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, there is an anonymous Cleveland Cavalier player that is spitting out blasphemy, talking about, well, you know, if we had Kyrie Irving, we would be up 3-0. Are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me? Okay? Even if Kyrie Irving would have stayed with the Cleveland Cavaliers, took his surgery early, they would have waited for the rest of the year for him to come back. All right? And hopefully he can come back in the middle of the season for the Cleveland Cavaliers and, you know, work himself out and get his legs under him. They would have been in the same predicament like they were last night. All right? Kyrie Irving with LeBron James, y'all won one game last year for the State Warriors. It was 4-1. All right? It wasn't even close. Okay? So you mean to tell me with Kyrie Irving there, y'all would have been up 3-0. All right? Maybe, I think if anything, you probably would have won game one, and this game would have been extended to Sunday instead of ending last night. Okay? So, LeBron James deserves a lot of blame for this sweep. He was last night proved a point. He only took 20 shots, okay? He was making passes where the player wasn't even open, okay? It would have been it would have been hard for that player to score. All right, he put the player in positions where the player had no opportunity to score the basket. But y'all always talk about how much of a facilitator he is, and he is. Okay, I'm not taking it from him, but what I am saying is LeBron James stunk up the joint last night and just said, you know what, the hell with it. And they had opportunities to win game 4. But LeBron James was already spitting out the narrative of they're like the New England Patriots. You know, you can't have moments where you say, my bad, my bad. You can't make mistakes on this team, okay? Which is somewhat true. But if you would have played tighter defense, slow the tempo down, slow the game down. This is the same stuff I was telling LeBron James last year. You don't go into someone else's arena and try to beat them at their game. You know they're faster than you. Okay, you know that they shoot better than you. Okay, why are you trying to push the ball up and down the court, like the Golden State Warriors? It was the same trap he put himself in this year than last year. Okay, you can't have a bunch of shooters all over you and nobody. I mean, you got to get big. You got to get big. And even though the Cleveland Cavaliers led in the majority of these games in rebounds, when you compare them to the Golden State Warriors, they just didn't capitalize off their rebounds. I mean, a rebound isn't good if you don't score nothing on the rebound on the other end. Okay, you can rebound all day. All right. You can have 1,000 rebounds, but if you don't capitalize off the rebounds with points, then what was good? Why even do the rebound? Okay, why even go down? Why even go down to the low block and rebound? Okay, because that doesn't make any sense. Okay, a lot of mistakes in game 4, and I felt like the team goes as well as LeBron James. But if you're whining and crying and you are already throwing out these things on social media that this team isn't good enough, it's not about, at the end of the day, you have to have enough heart to say, look, bump all that. Okay, we may not be as talented as them, okay? But we still we still going to give it our best all and try to win a game or two. Okay. Now he mentioned the New England Patriots. The Golden State Warriors is like the New England Patriots. You can't afford to make mistakes. Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the New England Patriots, and they beat them at their own game. They stayed in the game. They didn't try to push the envelope. They didn't try to rush it. They capitalized off the few mistakes New England made. Okay? And that's what LeBron James has to realize. It ain't about trying to push the ball as fast as you can down the court and taking threes when you don't have the personnel to do that. All right? When you change the roster to this younger group, the last thing you want to do is to have an aggressive, high tempo game plan. All right. What LeBron James need to realize is it ain't about trying to outbeat the Golden State Warriors with their game, because guess what? The Golden State Warriors beat you to your game. They stopped. The threes wasn't killing you. It was the uncontested shots, the slam dunks, the fadeaways, the layups. It was all those little things that added up to why you guys did not win. Now, let's talk about the future of LeBron James. Because we all, I've been on the record saying LeBron James is probably going to stay in Cleveland because at the end of the day, when you look at the landscape, if he thinks about going to these other teams don't have a shot of beating the Golden State Warriors. And there's only two ways you can beat the Golden State Warriors. Well, three ways for LeBron James. He can either, if he can't beat them, join them and try to join up with the Golden State Warriors. He's going to take a veteran minimum, and if the Golden State Warriors can get, can somehow, some way get LeBron James with the veteran minimum, then clearly the writing's on the wall with Draymond Green. They're probably going to trade Draymond Green away because they're going to need that roster spot. Okay, that's one scenario. Another scenario is going to the Boston Celtics. Now, if he goes to the Boston Celtics, he's going to have to take a pay cut to go to the Boston Celtics, and the Boston Celtics is going to have to either get rid of Kyrie Irving or Gordon Hayward. And I think if you get LeBron James to the Boston Celtics, then this rumor that's floating around that Kyrie Irving is thinking about when his contract is up going to the Knicks, if you can get LeBron James to Boston, then Kyrie Irving is going to sign an extension with the Boston Celtics. All right. And with that team, and all you giving up is maybe Gordon Hayward, Smart. You're not gonna have enough money for Smart, But if all you giving up is that and maybe a first round pick, because in order for it to work, the Cleveland Cavaliers would have to sign LeBron James to a contract, and then they trade LeBron James to Boston, and in return they probably get they might set it up to where Gordon Hayward goes to the Celtics. Maybe definitely they're gonna have to probably give up 2 draft picks to make it intriguing. Okay, which I think Boston has 3 or 4 draft picks. I'm not 100% sure. I don't keep up with that stuff. But they're going to have to match the salaries. They probably give up 1 draft pick, sign Smart to a contract, and then Smart and Gordon Hayward and maybe someone else, Rozier, maybe that point guard. If the Cleveland Cavaliers if they want to play hardball, they can sweeten the pot. But knowing Dan Gilbert and the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, they're probably just going to trade LeBron James away just for anything, because if LeBron James holds all the leverage, because LeBron James can technically say, well, you know what, I don't need, I have money, so I'm just trying to benefit you guys. So that, Boston probably not going to give up a lot, for LeBron James. Okay, so you're probably giving up on Hayward. You're going to have to give up on Hayward, because if you have LeBron James, then you really don't need Hayward, or you want to give up on someone else, and then LeBron James can play the 3, can play the 4, whatever. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He used to play for the Atlanta Hawks, and now he's playing for the Celtics, and he had a great run with the Celtics, but it was little to no good. Okay, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. I forgot him. All right, pretty sure somebody's going to say in the comment section who I was referring to. Either one of those players, maybe a draft pick for LeBron James, and LeBron James can go to Beantown. Okay, but if LeBron James signs a contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's not going to be a favorable contract. It's not going to be a contract where LeBron James holds all the leverage. Okay, it's going to be a less desirable, favorable contract, because in some way LeBron James is desperate. Okay, if he wants to, in order to beat the Golden State Warriors, either join them or go to Boston. And if you go to Boston, you're still in the East. It's the least. You don't really have nobody in front of you that can, that you have to worry about. The Raptors are rebuilding. probably one, if not both of those players are going to probably be traded. If you look at Cleveland Cavaliers, they go from first to worst. You don't got to worry about them in the playoffs. The Miami Heat, they're still trying to add pieces, but they're not going to. The Celtics with LeBron James are not going to be worried about them. Okay. And the 76ers, they're going to be adding more pieces, but, they're still not going to be as good as LeBron James and the Boston Celtics. That will be clearly a super team. Okay. And there's some other scenarios. LeBron James can go back to Cleveland, finish his career there, and call it a wrap. Maybe play 1 or 2 more years for Cleveland, and just call it a wrap, call it an end, and then retire. And then Dan Gilbert sells the team to LeBron James. Okay, that's an angle a lot of people don't talk about. Or LeBron James just retires. And LeBron says, you know what? Enough's enough. I done it all. I got 3 finals. I got 3 MVPs, and I've been to I think he 8 or 9 finals. I can't keep up. But there's enough there on his resume, and he also got a lot of individual stats. Okay. That clearly he's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's got a lot of ammo under the belt to a lot of people that are LeBron James blind witnesses fans are going to spit out at your local barbershop. Well, LeBron James is individual stats are better than Michael Jordan's, okay? But the one stat he doesn't have on Michael Jordan is the ring count. Okay, and Michael Jordan was simply a better player mentally and physically. Well, I say this much: LeBron James is the most athletic player I have ever seen in my life. Okay, it is what it is. So that's pretty much it. Those are only the scenarios I can see. Personally, I think LeBron James is going to go back to Cleveland because there's really nothing out there that you can say that can beat Golden State Warriors. If he goes to the Rockets going to have to give up on a lot of people's contracts just to add LeBron James. So he'll be in the same situation, and it's not even a guarantee that they make it to the Western Conference Finals. Okay, if he goes to the Spurs with him and Kawhi Leonard and some other pieces, a lot of people think, oh yeah, they'll be in contention, but it depends on where they rank in the playoffs. Where because it's a possible scenario where they could play the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. Okay. So I don't see a scenario even with the Spurs, and it's not 100% guaranteed that he's going to make it to the finals. Okay, the Golden State Warriors are a super team. They are loaded, and they crafted that team great. Trevor Ariza is talking about joining the Golden State Warriors. So if he's interested in that, the odd man out is Swaggy P. He only signed a 1-year contract. Okay. So, Swaggy P out, Trevor Ariza in. He's a better defender than Swaggy P. He a better 3-point shooter than Swaggy P. More athletic than Swaggy P, even though Swaggy P is younger than Trevor Ariza. Okay, but Trevor Ariza can bring a lot of stuff to the Golden State Warriors that Swaggy P just simply couldn't. Okay, and the list. The only future for LeBron is either, to me, going back to Cleveland, which I think he's going back to Cleveland, or going to the Boston Celtics. That's it. Okay, if he's trying to beat the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, when you go in free agency, the Golden State Warriors will let him come in. They'll talk, they'll get a couple of coffee. But the Golden State Warriors really don't have no strong interest in signing LeBron James because they done beaten LeBron James. LeBron James on the Golden State Warriors, they're not clamoring to get him. They already got their superstar in Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, if he keeps this up, And if he wins another championship and another finals MVP, then people are going to have another discussion and another argument. Well, who's better, LeBron James or Kevin Durant? Okay. And for him to get another MVP and another championship, that's a possibility. And this core group is young. Okay. There's a possibility where they may not, there's a strong, with all of them getting rested and getting a lot more healthier, they're gonna win the title again. Okay, there's a possibility that they can win the title 2 years running, and then it might be a possibility where they can do it 2 years running in the next 2 years, or be bounced in the Western Conference Finals 2 years from now and come back and win the championship the following year. There's a scenario like that. But if Kevin Durant can get 4 more championships and at least 1 more MVP, then a lot of people are going to be talking about, well, man, damn, in his career, he's got the same amount of MVP finals as well, and got more championships than LeBron James. Okay, then people are going to be making that discussion in your local barbershop. So, the oldest player that they have is Kevin Durant. All right. And as long as they keep the players that they have, the sky's the limit. Okay. But, to me, I hate to see LeBron James lose, but it just seemed like he didn't even contribute. He didn't even have no injuries, no desire to contribute. And at the end of the day, that's what's important. All right. This stream has went on as far as I can talk about. But at the end of the day, LeBron James, he either going to stay with Cleveland or call it a career, and or go to the Boston Celtics. One of those three. I think I'm leaning towards Cleveland. He'll probably play 2 or 3 more years at Cleveland and call it a wrap, because he got the fan base of Cleveland for him. All right. And even if they get bounced out in the first round next year or in the second round next year, whatever, people are going to still go back to the glory years. He's still going to dominate on individual stats. And and if he goes back to Cleveland, that him and Dan Gilbert probably got an agreement going on where, after you play 2 or 3 years with Cleveland, then I'm going to sell the team to you. Because Dan Gilbert doesn't want the team anymore. He's more interested in the Detroit. He's from Detroit, and he would love to get the opportunity to get the Pistons or the Lions, and I don't see the Ford family selling the Detroit Lions. And there's a scenario, and there's a possibility where they may go through another organizational move, another organization move with the Detroit Pistons. All right, so there's a scenario where Dan Gilbert would say, you know what, I'll just sell the team to you. All right. LeBron James with other investors will buy the team from him. All right. He's going to make a profit. I don't think the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to make that much money. Like when I forgot the billionaire that bought the Clippers. I don't think it's going to be on that stratosphere as what the Clippers sold for, but it's going to be a good chunk of money, and Dan Gilbert is going to make a lot of money off of it. And Dan Gilbert just wants to get money off of his investment, and Dan Gilbert will just leave in the middle of the night and go back to Detroit. He does a lot of his he does a lot more for the Detroit people than the Cleveland, because he's from there. Okay, even though he does more for Cleveland, but you see where his interests is with Detroit. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There's nothing left to talk about This free agency to me is going to be boring. And wherever LeBron James, everybody's gonna be watching where LeBron James go. But you take it from me, the only two strong possibilities and the only two choices LeBron James got is either staying with the Cleveland Cavaliers or go to Boston. And if he goes to Boston, then him and Kyrie is probably going to sign an extension to Boston, and they're gonna turn and with that young core with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James, they can probably dethrone the Golden State Warriors. That's the only team I see, and plus they'll be in the East meaning the least. They're going to have the best NBA record. They're going to blow up and dominate a lot of records. And if everyone stays healthy, they have a strong possibility of dethroning the Golden State Warriors. Because to beat a talented offensive team, you have to have a talented defensive team, you know. But it is what it is. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don 1. Also, I'm letting you guys know that I'm probably going to slow down on uploading a lot of videos. And if I do upload videos, it's not going to be early in the morning. Probably going to be late at night. Definitely, I'll upload a lot of videos on my day off, which is Thursday. All right? But it's your boy. I'm out. I see you guys later. Deuces.